we can take it higher. I can't hear the thunder coming from your mouth, and I know my number's up. Give me some Stevie Wonder, click, put it on before we go under. I can't see the lightning coming from your ears, yeah, I see you're frightened. I can't see the lion sleeps tonight and the tears you're crying. Come now, set the best on fire. Stand up, raise your face to the skies, my love. Together, we can take it higher. Together, we can take it higher. Come now, set the best on fire. Stand up, raise your face to the skies, my love. Together, we can take it higher. Together, we can take it higher. Come now, set the best on fire. Stand up, raise your face to the skies, my love. Together, we can take it higher. Together, we can take it higher. Come now, set the best on fire. Stand up, raise your face to the skies, my love. Together, we can take it higher. Together, we can take it
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us for our franchising webinar tonight. My name is Andrew Walker and I'm the Chief of Franchise Development here at Poolwerx. I've been with Poolwerx now for around about 15 years and 4 years I've owned a franchise of my own along with my son Lachlan. I've been in a number of roles within the business over those 15 years. I've held roles in operations, in commercial development and currently in franchise development. Tonight we're going to have a look at a variety of topics, but more around franchising and around Poolwerx as a franchise of choice. And we're hoping that we're able to provide you with a good widespread of information tonight that can assist you in making your decision as you move forward. So what we want to cover tonight is firstly how to pick a winning franchise. So some of the questions you need to ask yourself and ask your franchisors that you are looking at or the brands that you're looking at as you go through your due diligence process. Then we're going to hear a little bit about Poolwerx. We're going to have a Q&A with some of our current franchise owners, and then we're going to hear from our franchise recruitment manager to talk about the process. So tonight our speakers are myself. We also have on the call tonight Steve Halls. Steve is our Chief Operations Officer, and Steve will be talking about Poolwerx, the brand, and the history of Poolwerx. A couple of franchise partners that we have on the call too tonight, Tim Oldfield in New South Wales and Richard Kelly in Queensland. And Richard and Tim will be giving us some Q&A answers on various topics relating to their experience and their journey in franchising and within the brand of Poolwerx. And finally, Mike Geddes, Mike, the Franchise Development Manager, will be talking about the process within Poolwerx.
Hi everyone, my name is Nick and I'm CEO of Poolwerx across Australia and New Zealand. We understand that you're here today to make a really big decision, and my team and I are here to support you every step of the way. Here are a few key points to help you. We've been franchising for over 30 years and we still continue to grow. There are not many brands that can lay claim to fame to that key point. We have a unique hub and spoke model that delivers multiple revenue streams across retail and commercial parts of the market. And we've recently won Franchiser of the Year for the 3rd time. Again, there are not many franchisors that can say the exact same fact. A key part of the process is doing due diligence. We encourage you to talk to our franchise partners and ask those little questions that you feel more comfortable talking with them about. We look forward to talking to you and helping you every step of the way. My team and I are here to support you. Talk soon. Thank you.
So first of all, we'd like to talk about how to pick a winning franchise. You're about to embark on a decision that will change your life. You're looking to go into your own business and operate that business for a period of years, depending on what your life ambitions are. Franchising is a really good pathway in which you enter your own business. And one of the big reasons for that is that it is a lower risk of failure, I beg your pardon, a lower risk of failure through a franchise organization, providing you select the correct franchise. So there are over 1,200 different franchise brands across Australia, 8,000 of the company owned units, and about 65,000 of them are franchised units. Franchising in Australia has been growing since 1970, and it's a booming industry in Australia. 90% of the Australian franchises are homegrown brands. That's a really interesting fact. And more than 60% of franchisors within Australia have been in franchising for over 10 years. So it's really important that you pick a winner, as we would call it, in terms of selecting the right brand for you. And there are a number of really, really good franchise brands out there across Australia that you can consider. And I think the first step is you need to consider the industry, whether it's a service-based franchise or a food-based franchise, because it's really important that you follow your aspirations in terms of what you're going to enjoy doing for the rest of your life. One of the very key things that you need to consider is the values of the brand and your values, and do they align? So it's really important that the values of the franchise brand that you are going to enter are in alignment with the values that you and your family hold. So for example, in Poolwerx, we have 5 values that we live by here, and many of our decisions are made based around one of these values. And those values are people first always, find a better way, do the right thing, dare to succeed, and energize. The next thing you need to look at is whether the franchise has form. Consider it like a race form. Have a look at the market and the industry of that particular franchise. Has the franchise been in that market and in that industry for a long period of time? Longevity can speak volumes in terms of franchise partner success and franchise partner satisfaction. Because at the end of the day, the franchisor is only successful if the franchisees within that network are successful. Have a look at the size of the market and the industry. So is it an industry that's continuing to grow, or is it an industry that's in decline? What are the market trends around that industry? So for us in the pool industry, we know that the pool industry is continuing to grow. Australians have a real passion for their backyard, and we have a passion providing backyard memories to consumers in Australia who have a pool. Have a look at the franchise and the awards within that franchise. Are they a multi-award winning franchise group? Because that indicates that the peers have identified that that particular franchise brand is of value and is a successful franchise brand. Are they accredited? There's an independent organization called Fran Data who operate the Fran Data rating system. And that's a rating system whereby they analyze various franchise brands and they rate them from 1 to 5 based on a whole range of factors. And those factors can include the financial stability of the franchisees, the financial stability of the franchisor, the support structure that's in place, the longevity of the brand, the recognition of the brand in the community. And then they place that rating on them. So Poolwerx have a 5-star rating. And the important thing about that is that when banks are looking to lend to a person looking to buy a franchise, they will refer to the Fran Data financial report that they have access to that will give them information about the financial stability of the franchise brand. And if the franchise brand has a strong star rating, then there's more likelihood that the banks will be more prepared to fund that loan for the startup of the business. And is it unique? Is it something that's not repeated absolutely everywhere? The great thing about the pool industry, it's a living, breathing body of water. So it always needs chemicals. So therefore, it's a bit recession resilient in terms of the fact that a person cannot ignore their backyard pool. They have to put chemicals in it as a minimum. So, and because we have multiple revenue streams, then if one revenue stream was quiet, the other revenue streams carry it through. So have a look at the structure of the business that you're looking to buy, and are there multiple revenue streams that would enable you to be able to offset one against the other if that were to be the need. And there's some really important questions that you do need to ask yourself when you're trying to choose the brand. And one of those key questions is, what's your career path over the next 10 years? You're looking at going into this business. One would expect that it's not a 1 or 2 year ambition, that generally people who want to go into their own business are doing it because they want to grow the enterprise value of that business and then sell it one day down the track for more than what they paid for it when they bought into that business. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to grow that business over that period of time. Excuse me. So has the business got the structure and the capability of growing? And have you got the capability of growing within that business without huge amounts of capital investment that will suck up any return you might get down the track at some stage? How do you compare with your competitors? Have a look at the industry that you're looking to buy into. If it's into a coffee shop, have a look at all the other coffee businesses that are around and what the traffic flow is in those businesses and understand your competitors and understand the pricing that your competitors are charging for you to be able to understand where your pricing structures may need to fit within that as an example. How are you with technology? These days, technology is becoming critical. And if you want to be successful in business and you want to grow business and improve productivity, you have to embrace technology. And does your franchisor have technology systems that can allow you to do that? They're very important questions that you need to look at. The other important question is your marketing strategy. Take a deep dive into the brand's marketing, their marketing team, their resources, what they do, what they offer, where they're ranked within the industry. So is that brand well recognized in the industry? Is it an award-winning brand in terms of unaided brand recall by consumers? Because that will give you an indication that their marketing strategy is on target. Another key point that we find when people are looking into Poolwerx is the support structure. How many and who? It's really important. You're buying into a brand. You do not know everything about the business. In most instances, many instances, you will find that you will know very little about what the business actually does. And you won't have the knowledge until you actually join the brand to be able to understand and manage that business completely. You may have a marketing background, but you don't know the technical side of our business, for example, or you may have a sales background, but you know nothing about marketing. So the ideal benefit of entering a franchise is that they have the support team around you. And this is why there's lower risk for failure, because they have the support team around you that are going to watch you and monitor you and support you and help you so that you have less chance of failing and more chance of growing and succeeding. And it's really important that the franchisor of choice that you make has a good, solid support team around them. Another good question is training and development. What is their ongoing training and development? Every brand will tell you we train you when you start, but not many brands will tell you we train you year in, year out, month in, month out, and offer those opportunities at every point, because the really critical thing is that we want to develop you and your staff to be able to do the job that you want to do to make your business the best business it can be. Franchise partner satisfaction. So many franchise brands will do a franchise partner survey, a satisfaction score, they call it, and every year, and you can get an understanding of what that satisfaction is within the brand that you're looking at. It's a good guide or a key for understanding how happy the franchise partners are within the business. And another key question you can ask is, why do franchisees leave? Now, this information is always in the franchise disclosure document. Under the Franchising Code of Conduct, franchisors are required to provide you with a disclosure document. And in that disclosure document, there will be how many franchisees have left and the reasons they have left the business over the last 12 months. Really important information for you to have and to understand. And then you've got to look internally. Have a look at yourself. Have you got the vision of what you want to achieve? Is there a clear plan that you would like to do over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Are you passionate about wanting to make a success of this business? We do often see, sadly, people come through looking to buy a business and they just don't have that fire in their belly to want to make their business a success. They just want to have a business because then they can say they're self-employed, but it doesn't actually go anywhere or do anything for them. And if you're going to do that, there's no point actually having a business at all. You might as well just continue having a job and working for someone. Are you good at working together? If it's a spousal situation or a partnership situation, are you able to work with the people that you are going to enter that partnership with? Sometimes it could be your spouse, sometimes it could be a business partner, and you need to be able to work with those people. Ask yourself whether you're a people leader. If you're going to go into business, you will inherently be managing people. And managing people does take some work and some effort, and it's not always easy. You have different personalities and you've got to manage those personalities. And you've got to create a team that want to get behind you and make your business successful, because you can't do it on your own. So you need to be a type of an individual that can actually encourage people to work together as a team. And that follows on to communication. And that's the next key point. You need to be a good communicator, both with your clients, with your franchisor, with your staff, with your suppliers. You need to be able to communicate and understand what they're saying and how you can actually communicate what you want to say. Are you a self-starter? You've got to be able to get up out of bed every morning and you've got to go to work. You work hard. The first couple of years will be very, very, very hard. So it's important that you have the work ethic and that you're a self-starter to be able to make that happen. Business acumen. This is a valuable point, and it's one that we see. We are getting a lot more very business savvy people looking to buy our particular franchise, but not always our candidates got the high level of business acumen, and that's why they're looking at a franchise sometimes. Um, but in our instance, we're finding that our franchise owners that are coming into our brand over the last 5 years are a much more business savvy candidate, and they're not coming in looking for the business support. They're coming in looking for the marketing support and the branding support and the structural growth support to be able to build that enterprise value. And that's what we are focused on at Poolwerx, is developing that enterprise value. And you need to be a team player. And this is important too, because the relationship between a franchisee and a franchisor is a partnership, and you need to be able to openly talk about things together without getting angry or without throwing the toys out of the cot and that sort of thing. So you need to be able to be a team player in terms of the franchisor relationship, but also the peer-to-peer relationship. And that's a big benefit of a franchise, is that you do have other franchisees doing the same thing as you're doing day in, day out, and you have the opportunity to communicate with them, and you'll build a relationship with your peers within that particular business group that you're in. And that's really important, that you're able to get along with people. Look for a brand that is a leader in training, innovation, technology, and marketing systems. So it's really important that whatever brand you decide to go into, they have the training and development in place to be able to train you and your staff so that they all know what they're doing and how to do it. A brand that has the innovation and the technology to continue to grow and expand and improve profitability and improve productivity through technological systems. So it's really important too that whatever brand you're looking at going into is a brand that is innovating, because if you don't innovate in business, you will eventually die. And if your brand is not innovating, then it's not really a good brand to get involved with, because they won't be around in 10 or 15 years' time, potentially. And the marketing systems, as I've touched on earlier on, it's really important that you're buying a brand when you buy a franchise, and that brand is a very valuable commodity to the franchisor and to you as a franchise partner. So it's really important that the brand is identified as a number one brand and has a solid, strong marketing strategy behind it. So now I'd like to introduce you to Steve Halls. Steve Halls is our Chief Operating Officer. He's been in the franchising industry for about 25 years now. 11 of those years have been with Poolwerx. Like me, Steve has held a number of different roles within the business, but Steve's also been a multi-unit franchise owner in Gloria Jeans, and he's been the FCA National Field Manager of the Year winner, and he was last year voted number 3 in the top 30 franchise executives in 2024. Steve is a really, really lovely bloke, a very pleasant guy to work with and to deal with. And Steve's going to give us a bit of an understanding now about the Poolwerx system.
Have multi amount of stores as well. So, and that certainly has been helping the growth of the business exponentially. 30 years, we have a track record of winning many awards, as you heard from Nick earlier in his introduction video. We continue to have record sales revenue over the years, and exponentially FY22-23 saw us absolutely accelerate out of the back of COVID, and continue to see that record growth of anywhere from 8 to 11% growth each and every year. We're the leading pool service brand in Australia, as Andrew mentioned, and we continue to be the number one brand recognised company in Australia through our focus groups. And of course, most importantly, it's about having multi-revenue streams within the business. So the size of Poolwerx at the moment, we are a global business, as you may or may not be aware, but in Australia and New Zealand, we have 54 support staff ready to and are willing to support our current franchise partners and our new franchise partners as they join us. We have 188 retail global stores. We have 703 service vehicles out servicing territories, and collectively 454 territories across Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, and 164 franchise partners across all of those countries as well. So as you can see, we've certainly got a pretty good foothold as we're starting to see some further growth across the globe. Our awards, unashamedly and not egotistically, but it's really proud to be able to recognise the success that we have within the industry. As you can see there, multi-award winning, most predominantly the Franchisor of the Year, which is certainly a coveted award, which a lot of franchisors certainly very proud to be able to achieve. But that comes with a very high scrutiny in regard to criteria and how we're able to meet that criteria and be successful across over 1,200 brands. As you can see, multi-unit franchisee of the year, so some of our franchise partners have won national awards as well in the same industry. We have the US Entrepreneur Magazine, where we've been ranked 169. And of course, most importantly, which we're very proud of, the Social Responsibility Franchisor of the Year, where we are absolutely giving back and very conscious of our community and our responsibility within our business. So for you, just like me, when I was looking to buy my first lot of businesses, it's about what's the support level for you? What do I get out of a franchise system? Because at the end of the day, you are joining a system and a business model that, yes, you pay for the service fees and the attributes of buying into the system, but what do you get from it? And as you can see on the screen, there's some key attributes of what we provide from a training point of view and a support point of view, which is critical to the success of your business should you take the journey. So obviously the purchasing, so we have global suppliers that we are aligned with, and we have a really strong buying program, which gives us best buying practice throughout those global businesses. We have high level of technology, which innovation that we're continually looking to move and make the benefit to not only our clients, but also to our franchise partners and their teams as they're moving through and delivering on our services. Our systems and processes. 30 years we've been defining how we operate as a business and how we build the processes and the systems in the business to make us the number one in where we're at. And then there's our people and performance. So ensuring that we're looking after all the people, not only in the support center, but obviously our franchise partners, how we support them, how we guide them and mentor and manage them to reach their goals and their achievements as they join the business. Our retail growth has been phenomenal over the last few years. On average, we're opening anywhere from 8 to 12 stores a year within our business, just in Australia and New Zealand, and the program certainly doesn't slow from there. And of course, and not last, but is our marketing. Our marketing has been phenomenal over the years and just continues to develop and get so much more cut through and gives us that ability to be able to reach more market share within our business. So here's a bit of a look of the teams that we have within the Poolwerx support structure, just to give you a bit of a concept of the specialists that we do employ within the business, not only from marketing through to operations, franchise development, which is the team that you've touched point here at the moment with Mike and Andrew in having a look at the business tonight. People, performance and culture, it's how we're able to give that learning and development, technical training and support to our franchise partners from our support team, our internal legal team and finance team, our evolution team, which is that piece around IT systems, innovations, and how we continue to build our network and our support structure, and our commercial team, which is another revenue stream, which I'll touch on just a little bit later, but it just gives you the understanding that we don't just look at domestic pools, we do look at big bodies of water, and we have national obligations and responsibilities and relationships with within the national structure well for commercial pools. So let's talk a little bit about our growth. As you can see on the slide here, we're looking at the group sales and the territory expansion over the years. So as you can see, 2007, 2009, we saw quite a bit of a growth spurt through the group financial crisis. And then again in the COVID period, 2020, 2021. Unlike most other brands, these times and years was where we actually saw the massive amount of growth, where Andrew spoke earlier about having the ability to be agile and flexible. The Poolwerx business and its unique model gave us the ability to be able to really be agile and develop and certainly grow our business through even the harder times when most businesses weren't performing well. And as you can see, the two lines there, from 2003 to 2023, we've seen continual growth per territory, growth per overall business. So how do you grow within Poolwerx? You're probably thinking, do I buy a big business? Do I start from just a person in a van? We do have a transition period within process within our business. And there's two ways you can grow a business. You can have what we call the traditional growth, where you'll start a new territory and have just one van, and then over the years, 2, 3, as you see there, you can get into your second van and then go into a retail store with a few vans, and then eventually get into a few stores and a few vans. So that's the traditional way that the business started 30 odd years ago. And now what we're seeing now is the accelerated growth, where we'll have people looking to come in and buy existing businesses already with substantial income and revenue, and people who are looking to invest at a higher level. And that may be they're buying a few territories at once and putting a retail on in a very short time, and then more retails and so on and so on. And it's all about where you're at and what investment you want to put into the business and how you want to grow the business. So you're not pigeonholed in how you can grow the business. You've got the opportunity at whatever level works for you to be able to come into the business and grow the business. I suppose what we're trying to express there is, there's no limits on how big you can take the business if that's where you're looking to go. So what do we do? So Poolwerx is a very unique model where it's what we call a hub and spoke model. So the hub being the retail environment, and then we have the little tentacles, as you can see there, go out, which is all the mobile service vans, which goes out and does services, backyard pools and commercial pools and all those things from the hub approach. So a very unique model that works extremely well and continues to show extensive growth throughout our business. The average revenue for a Poolwerx operation as of end of last year, was $1.6 million. And what type of clients do we look after? As we said, we spoke about residential and commercial. So we have three sort of combinations that we talk about in Poolwerx. There's the do it for me sector. So that's those clients who want you to come in, look after their pool. It's a full service, it's regular, it can be fortnightly, monthly. They actually don't want to touch the pool. They just want the experts to come in and make sure their pool's perfect and they can just swim in it and enjoy it. And then there's the element of the DIY, or those do-it-yourself clients who want to play around, like myself a little bit, want to play around with their own pool, want to test it, make sure it all looks wonderful. But they're still looking to come into our retail stores and not only buy the product, get the advice, get the water tests, and get the expert advice, but they still like to play around with their own pool a little bit and get the joy out of that. And then we have the commercial clients, as I spoke about earlier. This is the level of where we talk about big bodies of water, where we talk about public baths, aqua sites, swim centres, stratas, hotels, resorts, all those aspects of commercial, which gives us a different level of service revenue. It also comes into what we call the business-to-business market, which is working with real estates, working with body corporates, and those like. So it's about building those relationships, driving that revenue stream into our businesses to ensure that we've got the full seasonality of the business across the whole year. And talking about seasonality and multiple retail streams, there's a bit of a myth out there that you may be thinking, well, the pool industry, when everyone's not swimming and it's cold, that there's no work. The very reason we adopted and brought in the revenue streams within the business, like the commercial that I just spoke about, is ensuring that we stabilise the business across the entire year. yes, there is the periods like the heavy swim seasons from circa October through to April, where everyone wants to use their pool and everyone's swimming. And yes, it is much busier for us, but that doesn't mean that it gets to a point where we don't operate within the quieter months, or what people may regard as the winter months. It's about offering a different product and different range, and our very articulate marketing strategy that we utilize all year round, and how we become agile and make sure that we cover that. So things like sales of equipment and knowing when to service and upgrade equipment, normal servicing for regular, maintaining all that equipment. We have programs where we go in through the quieter months where we maintain the equipment and do all repairs and all those aspects. Of course, weather events like we've seen in Queensland and a few other places recently. And then offering that reporting model where we're actually doing handovers and reports to places like insurance, retail, real estates, stratas and that type of thing, where we go in and we do handover reports and advise them of what their systems are looking like during the quiet months. And it gives us the ability to be able to increase our revenue streams over those, what we call softer months. Here's just a few pictures and a bit of an understanding of what the commercial clients looks like. It's a huge potential within our business. Real estate, insurance, pool builders, stratas, hospitality, and of course, sporting facilities. And all of these, we currently look after many across Australia and New Zealand. And we have also provide the training and the upskilling and the certification for those particular bigger bodies of water, and upskilling our teams to ensure that they're at the cutting edge of managing these big volumes of water as well. And great segue into how we train people and how we use their world-class facilities that you can see some photos of there. So proudly, we're one of the only in the Southern Hemisphere that has the training facility that we have. But what that does is it gives us the ability to be able to upskill all of our technicians, franchise partners, retail teams in world-leading training and upskill. And what does that look like? That covers off on retail excellence, where we upskill people in the retail environment, the technical excellence program, where we get technicians in and we upskill them at whatever level they may be. We use our suppliers, or our PIPs as we call them, partners in profit, to come in and also give product training and upskilling as well, utilising our development season workshops, which is when it's the quieter months. That's the opportunity for us to really program and give training across the entire country of all certain aspects of different parts of our training. And then we have that qualification where we give Certificate 3 in swimming pool and maintenance management, which all of our franchise partners go through and attain once they go through the pool school process. Here's just a bit of a view of our marketing and what we do to build the brand and support you in growing the brand. So improving the customer satisfaction, most importantly, bringing you new clients, education programs across the year, and increasing in-store spend, or what we call average ticket value, and community programs, which is very much a key part of what we do. So advertising, search engine optimization, public relationships, obviously weather, sending out information to our clients about upcoming weather events and what to do and how they manage their pool. Digital marketing is massive within our business. And then that, not only from a national point of view, but as you heard Andrew talk before about national, regional and local area market, all the resources, templates and all the technology, everything is there, and the platforms are there ready for our franchise partners to use to make them more efficient, more effective, and have a further greater reach to all of the clients within your territory. 28 strategic promotions we delivered in 2024, which is a lot when you think about how we do all this and how we get the strategy together. These were direct campaigns, impacted our franchise partners' profitability. At the end of the day, we're in business to drive the profitability of our franchise partners. So having these strategic campaigns gives the business some lift and drive, especially in what we call the off-season, as I spoke about earlier, to maximise profits in the summer months. So there's just a little bit of an example of some of the internal and external and client-facing advertising and marketing we've done in the last year.
We all remember those endless summers in the pool. Like the time you made that classic catch. Had a secret romance. Turned into human prunes. And threw the pool party to end all pool parties. For 30 years, Poolwerx has been proudly helping Aussies create poolside memories. And with locally owned and operated teams in your area, we're committed to keeping your pool healthy and sparkling. So, here's to more endless summers with Poolwerx for healthy pool people.
So now we're going to hear from our franchise partners. Now, this is an area that is well liked, and most people on the webinar, this is the piece that they're probably most interested in, because as a franchisor, we can talk all we like about the brand, but the real endorsement comes from speaking with franchise partners. And one thing we always recommend with all of our candidates is that as they're going through the due diligence process, they really go out there, speak to franchise partners, and get a good understanding of their experiences within the business. And tonight we're really fortunate to have two franchise partners with us. We have Tim Oldfield. Tim is a franchise partner in New South Wales, down in northwestern Sydney. He has 8 marketing areas or 8 territories. He operates 18 vans on the road and has 5 stores. And he joined Poolwerx in 2003. So Tim has been in the brand for 22 years. So that says something, I think, about the franchise as a brand and about Tim as an individual. And Tim's been very successful over those 22 years in growing and developing his business. And we're going to hear a little bit about that from Tim tonight. Our other franchise partner that we have with us tonight is Richard Kelly. So Richard is a franchise partner in Queensland. Richard joined Poolwerx 4 years ago. He bought an existing Poolwerx business that was turning over around about 3 million. And he's taken that business now to around 5.4 million and grown that business amazingly. He's got 4 marketing areas across South Brisbane, and he has 12 mobile service vans and 3 retail stores. And Richard is about to embark on another major acquisition that's going to take his business to a whole new level, which is really exciting. So tonight we're going to hear from those two franchise partners, and I'm going to just ask Tim and Richard a few questions to help the people that are on the webinar. So let's start with you, Richard, if you don't mind. So why did you decide to buy into Poolwerx?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I think for me, my journey might be a little bit different to others. I wasn't specifically looking at the franchise model. I was looking at opportunities within the cleaning category. And through my research, I came across an opportunity that was cleaning pools that happened to be a Poolwerx business. So at that stage of my process, I hadn't considered franchising, but I wanted to look a little bit deeper and find out more about what cleaning pools was, what franchising meant, and really who Poolwerx was within that category.
Okay, so what was the process that you went through in terms of establishing, first of all, that the pool industry was the industry you were looking to get into, and then Poolwerx as a franchise brand?
Yeah, so like I said, I initially was looking at the cleaning category and then zeroed in on pools. And once I'd decided that pools represented a big growth opportunity, I'd recently returned from spending almost 20 years overseas and realized that things had changed since I'd last lived in Brisbane. And everyone, a lot more people had pools. A lot more people were looking, getting their water tested, and those that didn't were engaging Poolwerx or someone like Poolwerx to come and clean their pools, including my own father. So I thought, okay, things have changed here. I'd like to look at this a bit more. So as part of that process, you really need to speak to as many people as possible. So I did my own research around the industry specifically, the competitive set that Poolwerx sat within. I spoke with friends and family who had their own pools. How did they go about getting it serviced and maintained, who they used, what they thought of that experience. And you go online, there's plenty of feedback from people. And for me then, once I had settled on the category and the opportunity, I was wanting to make sure that Poolwerx within the franchising model was the market leader, because a lot of my research pointed to that. that if you're going to enter into franchising, you want to partner with someone who's got the greatest market share, because you can build on the success of that brand and franchise partners who had come before.
All right. Thanks very much, Richard. That's really good advice. So I might just jump to you, Tim, for a minute, if you don't mind. So 22 years in the brand, that's a really long time. So what advice would you give the people on the webinar who are thinking about getting into a business of some description, and having had the experience that you've had over that 22 years, what advice can you give them?
Advice about choosing?
Yes. What sort of things should they do in their due diligence process to choose the brand?
I think, well, all I can do is talk about what I liked about the brand all those many moons ago.
Yep.
And the brand, I was coming from being a store manager for Officeworks. So I like the retail aspect of it. And also the ability to grow was great. So I was able to, Ben at the time was able to really outline that growth from man in a van through to multiple stores. And my goal was to basically build a business that was turning over as much as the Officeworks stores were turning over that I was managing at the time.
Okay. So how's that journey looked for you? I know you did come in as a man in a van, as started off that way with a new territory.
Yeah.
So what's the journey looked like for you over the last 22 years?
I got into a retail store pretty quickly. One retail store, then went to two. After must have been 3 years, had two, and then it closed a retail. Continually grew mobile along the way. Was with one retail store for quite a while in Castle Hill, and then all of a sudden, my local independents started to want to sell. So I started to purchase lots of independents that were old and tired and wanted to get out. So since 2020, since basically COVID, we've gone from one store through to now just sealed the deal on the fifth store. So it's been pretty rapid over the last five years.
Yeah, that's been great growth, hasn't it? And you jumped into retail relatively quickly. What have you found how's that benefited you in your business?
Oh, you can guarantee if you go retail, you need to have another van ready to go, because as soon as you've got bricks and mortar, your mobile takes off. So that's the attractive thing for a retail for me, is to open up a store and you'll see the vans get busier. The real profit is in the mobile work. So being able to charge labour, you get to put in lots of high dollar equipment, etc., etc. So this business model doesn't work if you're just retail. It's really retail driving business into the vehicles.
And over the 22 years, you would have gone through various, slowdowns in the economy and the GFC and COVID and various things like that in the Sydney market. How have you found that Poolwerx as a brand and your business has been able to cope and facilitate those changes?
Well, I think the biggest advantage with Poolwerx is brand recognition. We've got the reputation of being trusted, reputation for knowledge. And I guess it's what I do have to give PSC congratulations on all the time is they're thinking outside the box. So if there's a bit of a challenge happening, then we're thinking outside the box to pivot a little bit to keep growing. So that's been quite remarkable, actually, in all of my years, that's always happened. If sales have started to dip a little bit, then we've thought, twisted, pivoted, and gone in a new direction to make sure the sales are going up. So that's been good.
It's an important point you make there, Tim, because that's critical in business success, isn't it? You need to be able to, if you're going to succeed, you need to be able to pivot and change with the market conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
And you've seen that in your 22 years with Poolwerx.
yeah. And sometimes I'm the one that's going, whoa, wait, hang on, I'm not sure that whether we've got the trend here yet, just to pivot away from where we are. Maybe we need to stay on this path just for a little bit longer. So, but yeah, Poolwerx head office is really thinking ahead. So Richard and I get to participate in various groups and other focus groups and things where you can really see that the PSC is looking 6, 12, 18 months ahead at what's coming. And then that goes in the pipeline. And then that eventually goes down to all franchise partners. So it's it's good. It's been a good transition from being day one, Tim Oldfield, to now I don't know how many days. I get to see the other side of things.
So you touched on you touched there a little bit on peer support. So you're in a peer group, and you touched on the feedback and the communication between you as a franchise partner and Poolwerx as the franchisor, and you're a part of a peer group. Tell us a little bit about that peer group and how's that helped your business?
Oh yeah, the peer group's been fantastic. So it's about 8 of us of businesses of the same sort of size, scale, format. We get together every quarter. We usually fly somewhere, so someone hosts. So in the last 2 weeks, we went up to Noosa and had a day meeting there. We basically talk about our businesses, how we're performing, what challenges we have, what's coming. So this last one, we sort of had a discussion about how we're planning to attack this new season and what we're going to do with early buys. That peer group has given me a support system, and it's also given me a whole lot of energy. So it keeps me energized to meet up with these guys, give them phone calls, have someone to talk to that understands the challenges of owning many, many shops and many, many vehicles and a business of scale. So I believe it's not only, these groups aren't only for us at the higher end, they're coming in for businesses, not down, but different types of businesses. So there's that support group of like-minded people with similar scale business. So I think it's accelerated a lot of peer group members' businesses. I think everyone's getting good growth out of it.
That's great. All right. Thanks, Tim. I'll jump back to you a little bit later on. But Richard, I'd just like to explore with you a little bit. You had no background in swimming pools when you joined the brand. And I just want you to give a bit of an explanation of what does a day in the life of Richard Kelly look like today in your business?
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Apart from having been fortunate enough to have a pool in the backyard growing up, I had no experience with service. I had no experience with retail. I had no experience with small business. I had no experience with franchising. I have a corporate background in media sales. So what gives, you might suggest. But look, the support and training that Poolwerx offer to all new joining franchise partners sets you up for success. Like you said earlier in your presentation, you've still got to execute. You've still got to do it yourself. But the blueprint is there. The learnings and the failures are there to build upon and really take the parts that are going to apply and be relevant to your business. Because like Tim said, we're not all the same size. We don't all have 5 shops. We don't all have 18 vehicles on the road. So you need to know where you're going to add value in your business. And for me, I probably didn't establish that until I had my feet under the desk, and I got to know more about the industry, more about the business I bought, more about how it had been operating, and really apply what I had learned, not just in pool school, but in my previous, working career, and consider, well, what can work here? Nothing happens until you sell something. So we're selling solutions to clients in store with water tests. We're advising them poolside with equipment upgrades and replacements or repairs. And I think if you know what your strengths are, and again, you touched on this earlier, you can add value in those areas in many ways in your business. But what you need to be mindful of is what you can't do, either because it's not your skill set or it's not what you want to do. You need to then make sure you've got the resources in place to be able to, I suppose, meet the expectations of the market and your customers. So for me, we have a big team. As I said, it spans across those sectors: the retail, the service, the back of house, the accounting, the purchasing, and really, I'm trying to enable everyone to make sure that they have everything they can or they need to do their job, so that we're looking after so I'm looking after the team, they're looking after the customers, and the business looks after itself. So there are complicated days, but then there's other days when it all comes together, which is great to see.
And I've heard you say previously when you've come in here and talked to prospective candidates from time to time when we have the groups come through our training facility, our support center, that you don't get on the tools. And many of our franchise partners may have started on the tools, but they certainly don't work on the tools any longer. They manage their businesses and they operate them manage the staff and the teams. But you made a conscious decision right at the very beginning that wasn't for you. It wasn't your skill set. And do you think that that's impacted you in any way whatsoever?
No, not at all. I still do go out with the tech team at times and do ride-alongs, and I do attend training when there's new products in market. But the previous owner of the business we bought had been in the industry for 20 years at that point. And look, I didn't have that, didn't want to wait 20 years to get to that stage, and it wasn't where I was going to add value in the business. So it hasn't impacted my enjoyment. It hasn't impacted the growth of the business at all. In fact, it's helped. Probably less return visits required if you see me by the pool.
Thanks very much, Richard. So, Tim, let's just jump back to you now for one last question. And I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but because you did start 22 years ago as a single van, if you can think back to those early days, that first year of operating in that van, how long did it take you before you felt you started to get some cash flow starting to generate through? And what did that feel like for you?
Well, I bought an existing smaller business, so I was already turning over 270,000. It was pretty hectic to begin with, but I mean so it was long days. Go out and do 10, 11-hour day servicing and installing, and then get home and go and do the invoices for it. But the cash flow was pretty good. Having the business which was turning over, I think we managed to grow to 400 and something in that first year, and mostly mobile, so that makes it very profitable. The flow was pretty good straight away.
And what's your turnover today?
Well, with this latest acquisition, it'll be 6.2 million, something like that.
That's great growth. Well done. Well, that's all I've got for the Q&A. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you, Tim, for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate it. And I'm sure that the people on the webinar would have taken some great tips and pointers out of those conversations. So what we'd like to do next is just to quickly run through the franchise selection process that we have here at Poolwerx. And I'd like to introduce Mike Geddes to go through that with you. So Mike is the Franchise Development Manager. He's been with Poolwerx for 21 years, so he is a veteran in the brand. He spent 10 years as a master franchisee and a multi-unit owner in Queensland and Northern Territory. And then he's had another 11 years in the support centre through franchise development and through a little bit of time with the business commercial development B2B team. So there's really not much about the business and the brand that Mike doesn't know. And he's been the winner of the Master Franchise Owner of the Year in 2005, and he's a certified franchise executive with the Franchise Council of Australia. So thanks very much for joining us tonight, Mike.
Thanks, Andrew. Lovely to be here. Thank you, everybody, for attending as well. I know your evenings are busy and life can be hectic, but hopefully you're enjoying what we have to say tonight. And Tim, I was just wondering if you're selling more than you did when you're at Officeworks in one store now. So have you achieved that goal, hopefully?
Not yet.
keep going together.
Still
Then.
going.
Well done.
This is what you need, people, persistence.
Good on you. Well done. All right. So what makes a successful franchise partner? At the end of the day, we can provide you with a great franchise system and a global brand, and we can provide all the training and all the support that you need to be successful, but, you need to do it yourself. So that's what Poolwerx franchise is all about. You're not just buying a job either. You are buying a business, and you want to buy that business to grow it and scale it, and so that when you sell it down the track, you're going to get a great return on that initial investment that you put into the business. So making sure you've got a really positive attitude to wanting to grow it. You've got a strong work ethic. Some of these things that Andrew talked about before. Using the systems, business acumen, driving to always improve and do better, and looking for those 1%ers to grow your business and make sure that your values are matching our values, and that you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, which generally, if you're going to buy a business, you've got that anyway. And then having a focus for making sure people are your number one and your clients are number one. So thank you, Andrew. We're going to provide you with world-class mapping. So we are very fortunate to know where every single swimming pool is in Australia. And when you buy your exclusive marketing territory, we'll provide you with the data that shows you where every single pool is by street number, street name, suburb, and postcode. We're going to be able to show you where your existing clients are, your regular clients. We'll be able to show you where your casual clients are that perhaps come into your retail store when you get to a retail store. And we'll be able to see the clients that are an opportunity for you to go and market to and get them on board using your services. So we won't sell a territory unless it's got 2,000 to 2,500 swimming pools in it, because we know on that basis, as Andrew mentioned, or Steve before, that our average franchise turnover then in that area can be 1.6 million in sales revenue with a retail store and 3 service vans. We can also have a look at where the competitors are. And also, if we're looking to acquire some of those independent businesses, we can have a look at the number of pools around them and make sure that it is going to be a good site to take over. Thank you, Andrew. See, there's 3 ways that you can come and join our system. The first one is what we call new to industry. The second is what we call a fast start. And the third is via established resale of an existing business. We'll just go now and talk about new to industry. So new to industry for us is starting as a man in a van initially. You can open a retail store on day 1 too if you want to from scratch and build a lot quicker by doing that. But basically, you're going to buy an exclusive marketing area. They're $99,000, including GST plus the cost of a van. So you're looking at around $140,000 all up. Turnkey, no more to pay. So we'll spend $10,000 marketing to the pool owners in your territory. We'll bring you to our global training centre for 4 weeks, including your flights and accommodation. We'll provide you all your chemicals, equipment, tools, and technology that you need to start in your van, including all your IT. We'll wrap the van with our wonderful signage, and we'll put our racking inside it for you, so it's like a mobile shop. And then once you've trained, you're ready to go. And we have a 12-month Forming Good Habits program, and we put you on our WhatsApp group so that you're never on your own. That's the success of franchising. The second option, please, Andrew, is what we call a fast start. So it's like a brand new. You get the full kit of a brand new startup territory, but you're buying some existing clientele in an existing marketing area that's been run by a previous franchise owner or current franchise owner who is looking to sell that territory off. So it's a great way of coming in and picking up some new business straight away or existing clients and then growing from there rather than starting from zero clients on day one as you would in a new franchise. And the third option is our resales. So we're getting more and more of these today as we get older in our system. We're now 32 years in franchising, and so franchise owners build their business and then they look to retire and sell. So we get these coming up. So they're simply, you're buying an existing well-established business, and in most cases they've still got fairly good potential to grow as well, and you're buying them on a multiplier of the bottom line profit. So whatever that EBITDA profit is, you put a multiplier on top of there, and that's generally how you will buy those businesses. Again, it includes all your training. We do charge a training fee on top of the price you agree to pay for the franchise off the seller, and we'll train you for 4 weeks, new uniforms, new business stationery, brand new franchise agreement, and of course that 12-month Forming Good Habits program as well. So thanks, Andrew. So we actually have a sliding fee structure in our business, which is quite unique. A lot of franchises have a flat fee structure. So when you're starting on day one, you're paying exorbitant franchise fees because you're not selling anything. Ours is based on your gross turnover. So if you're not selling anything, you're not paying anything, but you're still getting all the support of our 55 support staff in the head office. However, as you continue to grow, we reward you by decreasing those fees along the way. So we have a saying in Poolwerx that if you're doing well, we're doing well, and we're sharing it back with you and not take. So you'll start in a mobile van only, and you'll be paying 11 to 9% of your sales revenue the month after you've made the sales. And then once you go into a retail store, it drops down from 9 to 8%. And of course, those scales are based on sales revenue at certain benchmarks. Once you achieve those, then it drops. So the quickest way to go from 11 to 9%, of course, is to open a new retail store and go into that level. And then, of course, we have our standard fees on top of there, 3% national marketing, 2% technology fee, and 1% local area marketing. Thanks, Andrew. So what are the next steps if you like what you've seen today? And it's great to see some candidates here that have already taken through this process. So thank you for joining us tonight from New Zealand and Malaysia and around Australia. So thank you. So we'll do an introduction call on the phone, generally have a quick chat. My colleague Peter Clark generally does that, and then he will set up a face-to-face video with me and yourself on Zoom, and we'll spend an hour just taking you through what we call the introduction to Poolwerx, to tell you how we do things, training and support and marketing. We can go live and have a look at the mapping and show you the opportunity that sits in each territory. Once we've done that, we'll get you to complete some paperwork, deeds of confidentiality, information requests, self-assessments, and get those back so that we can learn a little bit more about yourself. And then we'll set up a discovery meet with our senior leadership team. This is a chance for you and your partner to meet our senior leaders, have a chat with them, get to know what they do in the business. More importantly, talk about their previous franchising experience and business experience. One of the things I'm really proud of in that meeting is we have close to 100 years franchising experience between us all. So it's good to know that the people that are heading up the business do understand how franchising works. From that meeting, we get to approve one another, and then we ask for a deposit that's fully refundable up until you sign the business sale agreement and the franchise agreement, and we start providing you with all the information in your due diligence, from a franchise disclosure document to introducing you to a broker who will then provide you information, memorandum and financials on the business, and then close the sale, and you'll do that through the broker. Then we'll provide you with a brand new franchise agreement in step 8, which is 5 years by 5 years and an option for another 5 years, and then we get you into our training and we get you settled and welcomed aboard. Thanks, Andrew. And of course, this is the wonderful team that are there to support you. What a fine-looking bunch of people we are. But we are all real, and we're all got different roles in the business that we use those skills to support our franchise network. So thanks, Andrew. I'll hand back to you.
Thanks very much, Mike. So really appreciate that process. It is a rigorous recruitment process, and we don't shy away from that because we want to ensure we have the best people joining our brand and can continue to carry the legacy of the brand through their journey within the business. That's all we have for you tonight. Please use the chat box if you do have some questions, and we can pick up on those and respond to them individually. You will probably get a phone call over the next day or two from Peter, who works in our team as well. Peter is a former franchise partner, 22 years in the brand as well, from South Australia. So Peter will reach out to you and have a chat. And if you'd like to learn more information about the brand, he will organise a meeting with Mike, as Mike just went through with you, and that'll be the next steps from here. But thanks very much for taking the time to listen to what we have to say. And we hope that you take some really valuable information out of that. So thanks very much.
Thank you.